नमस्ते और संगम टॉक्स में आपका स्वागत है। Today we have got Muni Dhimanji with us from Vidya Kshetra. He is the founder and Kulpati of Vidya Kshetra Gurukulam. And we had got a lot of requests that they wanted to know the particular details of admission and the daily timetable and fee structure, etc. All these regular questions from interested parents, because they were quite interested in the seeing the earlier videos of Muni Dhimanji talking about Vidya Kshetra. So we thought we should get him for a special session where we answer these questions for prospective parents and for those parents who would like to admit their child in this wonderful Gurukulam that Muni ji has set up with his wife Preeti in Bangalore called Vidya Kshetra. So, Namaste Muniji and
Namaste.
welcome to Sangam Talks. So, Muniji, we will start with some basic questions first, moving on to other technicalities.
Ji.
So, what is the admission process at Vidya Kshetra? Is it a residential Gurukulam or is it a day boarding? What is the admission process and residence?
See, traditionally, we understand Gurukulas mean Vedic Gurukulas. But Vedic Gurukulas are one part of many Gurukulas that our country had. Because every effort, wherever a person stood and created an educational environment, was a Gurukula of that Guru, that Kula of that Guru. Whether it's an Agrahara, Patashala, Vidyalaya, Vidyapeeth, or Vedic Gurukula, all these were the types of Gurukulas. And India had more than 6 lakh such institutions 200 years ago. So Vidya Kshetra is not a residential Gurukula, because we want to create an alternative to the existing day schooling education model. We still have many Vedic Gurukulas in India which are mostly residential by nature, and we have a lot of appreciation for those efforts. But we are focusing mainly on creating the mainstream education of the whole country, Bharatiya. And that model is what we have worked on. So it's not a residential Gurukula. Students come in the morning and then they go back in the evening. Younger children, they come around 8:30 and they leave around 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The older ones, they come at 7:15 in the morning and they leave around 4:15 in the evening.
So, Muniji, it's not a residential Gurukulam. They're like the timings and like a day scholar kind. So, what exactly is the admission process of Vidya Kshetra?
Admission process happens throughout the year. We start our session, I would say, in the month of June, and then we close it in the month of April mid to April 3rd week, depending on the class. If it's a senior class, we take an extra 1 week. And then there is summer vacations. We have aligned it, because it's a day school, we have aligned it with the current calendar. So we aligned it along with the regular current vacation schedule of the society. So admissions happen throughout the year. We have an event called Parichaya, where we invite people who are looking for admission in Vidya Kshetra. We invite people who want to learn about this type of education. And it also acts as a training for us, because it's a whole day event. Anything and everything that is happening in Vidya Kshetra, we try to bring it in front of the visitor on that day. Which includes display of work of students, their notebooks, what they have prepared, their handwork, our handloom center, whatever work is happening at Vidya Kshetra. Second part is the tour of the whole campus. So we take parents to see the agricultural space, the Goshala, the handloom center, the kalas, where the kalas happen, the science labs, the play area, and the classes. So all these things are covered as a part of the tour of Vidya Kshetra. Then we do some activities with parents to also make them understand in depth, to some level of depth, how the subjects are covered. For example, if it is tables and mathematics, we would have learnt it only in one way. But at Vidya Kshetra, at least I know 7 or 8 types we teach tables through 7 or 8 different methods. So we give an exposure to parents of those different methods, and through that they're able to understand the methodology a little better. And then there is food. We have lunch together, and after along with all this, we spend decent amount of time going through the vision of Vidyakshetra, the philosophy behind what we are trying to do, the curriculum and the methodology, and if there is any question and answers from the parents. So overall, we start around like 10 in the morning. It goes on almost till 4 or 5 in the evening. It's a whole day event. So that is the first part of the admission event. The second part is, after attending this whole day, parents have to fill a form if they are interested to seek admission for their child at Vidyakshetra. And after, we have had a very high rate of interest in this. For example, if we have around 100 people attending that event, 100 families, roughly we see that almost 90% of those families, they express their interest for admission. Maybe some of the other people who have participated have come either for learning purpose or from different cities, when people are coming who want to open their gurukulas, like that. So from that 80 to 90% of responses that we have received in affirmation that yes, we want admission, then we have a child observation where we request the parents to bring their child, and we would spend, if the child is of Shishu Vatika age, which is 4 or 5 years, it's a couple of hours or 3 hours maximum. There is no questions asked, but the child is plays in the environment. We spend some time with the child in a very family type of an environment, in a manner friendly way. But if the child is a little older, then we make the child spend a full day in the class. So the student who is seeking admission spends the whole day. So plays with the class, does Krishi agriculture with the class, attends the class with any subjects also along with the class. And that gives an idea about the child to all the teachers, and also it gives child an idea about how the thing happens, how the whole school runs or functions. So after this step, we have some students whom we are not able to take based on our admission criteria. Age is also one of the criteria. We don't take, at present, we take children only 10 years and younger. We don't take children 10 years and above. We are contemplating on the fact of taking children 16 years and above, who are coming from different gurukulas, or from aligned families, or from homeschooling parents, who have really put in that effort to culturally keep the intact, the whole cultural integrity is there with the child. And we are considering at this moment whether we can take students who are 16 years and above, but not yet decided. So this is the second stage where we have observed the student, and then some students we are not going ahead, some we go ahead with. The third step is to meet the parents. Now this meeting the parents is not an interview. Sometimes we meet the parent 2 times, sometimes we meet once, sometimes we meet 3 times, and believe me, each meeting will be at least 2 to 3 hours minimum. Sometimes it has gone to 4 and 5 hours also. It purely depends on the interaction. It's mainly to know each other better, for parents to know us and for us to know the parents. So from Vidyakshetra side, in these interactions, at least 2 acharyas or sometimes even 3 acharyas will be involved. One of the acharyas is from the same age group, Kaksha Acharya, where the child will go. Mostly we tried our level best to have that Acharya also part of the interaction. And then the fourth step, after this step is also completed, the fourth step is to go to the home of the parents. So we go and we spend nice 2-3 hours to meet all other people in the home who are part of that environment. How does the home environment look like? Is it aligned with our culture? Is it that what we are looking for is, because sometimes it's not easy for us to get all those answers in our interactions, but we have seen this is a very important step. Grandparents are not able to come to the school during the initial steps, so we get to meet the grandparents, we get to meet other people in the house, we get to see the child in the home environment. So all these factors put together, then we decide. And the acharyas who were present in the interaction with the parents, only one of them will continue mostly in the home visit. New one or two acharyas will go to the home. So overall, 4 or 5 acharyas would have been involved in this whole process. And then we collect the information of all the steps and make a decision. And either we take the child or we don't take the child. At each step, we inform if the student has or a parent have moved ahead. It's a very difficult process for us, because I tell this many times to parents that it is not, most of the times we have seen parents who have come are very aligned. They want this type of education. They are aligned in their home practices. They are looking for Sanatan Dharma as a possible solution for themselves and their children. So our decision making is very tough. It becomes very difficult for us because it's not a choice between not aligned and aligned families. It's a choice between more aligned and most aligned. And it's very difficult, for us. Many times we have to tell no to parents who are very aligned also. And because today in our whole country, only very few such educational institutions are there. It's a difficult situation for the parents. I believe it's a matter of another 5 years. We are already interacting with some teams across our country, and if everything goes well in next 5 years, we will have at least 10 more institutions coming up, like Vidya Kshetra, and that will address some of these issues of many good parents and families not getting admission in such an institution.
Muniji, can you elaborate on some things that what the parents are supposed to do after the admission is granted?
In Vidya Kshetra, our conscious effort is to give more students admission from Karnataka, because we are in Bangalore at this moment. Tomorrow, if we start another institution like Vidya Kshetra, or we are guiding or mentoring an institution in maybe Rajasthan, then we would like to give more preference to children from Rajasthan. So almost 70% students we want to take from from Karnataka. We do take children from outside Bangalore, and then we take children also from outside Karnataka consciously, because that mix is also important for whole India to have some sort of representation in the mindset of the children, of the student. So we have students who are from Delhi, from Punjab, from Maharashtra, from Tamil Nadu, from Kerala, from Andhra Pradesh, from Maharashtra, and so basically it's a spread from Odisha. So we have students who are from different states of our country. Now one important aspect what we always communicate to parents is to come with a very, very broad mind and openness towards Karnataka culture. See, we are making this decision that we are moving with my child to Bangalore, and we are getting admission in Vidya Kshetra. We should not dilute the culture of that place. In Ramayana also, if you see, when Ram won after defeating Ravana, he didn't make Lakshmana the king over there. His reason for making Vibhishana the king over there was so that the cultural integrity is there. And the local culture does not get diluted. The diversity of India is its strength. And that diversity has to be secured and maintained. So when we request parents, whoever is coming for taking admission, to learn Kannada language, to speak fluently. So whenever you are in your house, if you are a Punjabi, you stay Punjabi. You eat parathas, you talk Punjabi, no problem. But the moment you go out, you should be one of the local people over there. And unfortunately, in last 20-30 years, that culture has got seriously diluted because of the corporate and the IT environment. But I believe that's not a strength, but that's the weakness that we are going in the direction. So that is one aspect we tell parents. The other aspect after taking admission is that parents have to shift to Bangalore. because we don't have a residential setup. And of course there are situations where some parents have started now discussing amongst themselves that, can we make a small network, and can one parent stay and take care of 4 5 students. I believe in some time those type of solutions might evolve, but then that's not Vidya Kshetra's responsibility. So we don't have a residential setup, so parents move to Bangalore. We want that type of a setup um, because our model includes high level of integration with parents. We expect parents are expected to be part of the whole educational growth of the student. In an year, at least 4 manthan, there is an event called manthan, which is like churning. So in an year we have 4 manthans. It's all calendarized, announced in the beginning of the year, the dates of that event. All the parents, they attend that whole day event. The idea of that event is to really spend time understanding the vision of such an education, the details of such an education. What do we mean by Bharatiyata? Also, we invite speakers from outside who are aligned with what we are trying to do, and then they get to learn from those speakers. We have again food together, we play together. If some seva is needed in Vidya Kshetra, all parents do it together on that day. So like that, the whole day is there on Manthan event. Similarly, there is something called Arivu. Arivu is a Kannada word which means coming together and knowing. So Arivu is a 3 hour meeting of the parents of the same age students. So the Kaksha Acharya and the parents of that age group, they all come together and then they spend an evening in the house of a parent on rotation basis. And they have dinner together. In this meeting, the Kaksha Acharya shares what happened last month and what is planned for the next month broadly, because it's a very new, it's a model which is not a regular model. So it's our method of bringing as much awareness as possible in the front of parents. We don't have examinations, like marked examinations regularly. So assessment scores are also not there. So for parents, it's very difficult to understand what's happening on the ground if such interactions are not happening. So Arivu is another event where parent participation is needed. Every day in our kitchen, one parent couple comes and participates. So on rotation basis, if you have done seva today, your seva will come after 3 months or after 4 months now. So in fact, parents request to Vidya Kshetra that can we get it faster than what it is today. So it's the other way around. So parents, they participate in cooking, they participate in in such events like Manthan, and there are 2 festivals in a year. It's mandatory for parents to attend. One is our Navaratri Utsav, which happens on the first day of Navaratri in the month of generally Deepavali. That Vijayadashmi Navaratri is what I am talking about, not the ones which happen in the
March, April.
March, April time frame. The other festival is Shankranti, which is in usually January. So these 2 functions are mandatory for parents to attend. Apart from that, other festivals, they are welcome to attend. It's not mandatory. They should be aware that it's an involved parenting. It's not an outsourcing education model. Put my student, my child in the school. Now it's school's responsibility to take care. Yeah, we take care of the Gyan Parampara, parents take care of the Parivar Parampara. So they have to ensure that their home environment is aligned with what we are trying to achieve in Vidya Kshetra. Their home environment, they should have a nice rhythm, they should continue to follow the Sanatan Dharma practices. Just last week I had tweeted on Twitter on possible Sanatan Dharma practices at home. So these are very simple practices, but very few families are following it today at home. So like that home environment, they need to continue their Parivar Parampara. One thing I missed is transport. So we don't have any transport of Vidya Kshetra. So parents only, they form smaller groups, they form a carpool, and then they take care of bringing, dropping and picking up students. That is also one seva where parents get involved. So these are the things that parents should be aware of, that how they will be involved in the whole education method.
So this is a very interactive, a very like a wholesome family kind of. It's not that key you've put your child in a school and then forget about it,
Yeah, it's
which
not like
happens
that.
in the modern education, where the
Absolutely.
parents are not involved.
Absolutely.
So they'll have to relocate to Bangalore once they
Yes.
put their child in Vidya Kshetra, and they'll have to also make sure that they take out time from their routine for
Yes.
activities at Vidya Kshetra.
At least a day a month they should have in mind. It is needed.
I think that's feasible.
Yeah. Mothers, what we have seen is generally if a mother is not working, a mother, then she is able to spend more time. So this is minimum that we are expecting. If both are working, still this much time is needed. But if mother is not working and father is working, then mother is able to participate little more in Vidya Kshetra. There are some more opportunities, like we have community kitchen which happens once or twice a month, where we cook some snacks and sweets for the entire community. And so we have almost 17-18 parents volunteering in that activity. It's a great environment to be part of. So whenever, if somebody comes and sees, they will be like, wow, it's like such a happy movement going on, where 15-16 people are cooking for, and then that whole snacks and sweets are distributed to the families. We know what ingredients have gone inside it. We exactly have an idea who has cooked it. There is no adulteration. A lot of love has gone in, organic ingredients have gone in, so it creates a very vibrant environment. There are also learning sessions. Every Saturday we have 1 hour of online scheduled interaction, and parents are encouraged to participate in that. So, different topics related to education, parenting, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Purusharthas are covered as a part of, Itihasa are covered as a part of that 1 hour.
So the next question, Muniji, is what is the fee structure of Vidya Kshetra?
I have mentioned in my talk in Sangam channel. See, when we started with this clear idea that Vidya शिक्षा वही होती है जो धर्म सिखाती है. Now, if we are talking about education that is teaching dharma, it has to also follow dharma. So when we started Vidya Kshetra, we started with this understanding that we will not sell education, because the moment you sell education, education, the purpose of education is to take you from iha to para. Because an education is holistic, which gives you an idea of both the iha and the para, and it has the power to actually take you on your path of liberation. Now, if the education is sold, it is contaminated with the tamoguna or rajoguna. So, and gunas are a matter of iha, it's not of para. So it gets contaminated. How can an education that is contaminated take you beyond the gunas? So this was very clear from beginning. So we don't take any fees at Vidya Kshetra. The whole education is sustained by the dakshina that is given by the parents. What is to the best possible for them, they can give every year. When we are the last manthan, what I told, which happens in the month of April, just before the closure of the year, all the parents come together and teachers come together. In that event, we tell the parents what will be our budget next year. And then, knowing that budget, whatever best they can give as dakshina, they tell on a white chit. We total it and we announce openly that this is the amount that we will get from parents next year. Whatever is the gap, sometimes 40%, sometimes 50%, sometimes 60% of our annual budget, then we raise that amount from the society. So we approach our friends, relatives, well-wishers, colleagues with whom we have worked in past, and we raise that remaining amount. We have been doing this from last 7 years. Now we are getting into 8th year. Every year we have been able to do that. Only 1 year in between we had a little difficult time, but we managed it. So this is what
how you sustain it.
Yeah. We don't charge fees, but we definitely look forward to getting this support from the society, because it's always that the society has sustained education effort.
Okay. So, Muniji, the next question I wanted to ask is that about You know, normally in the modern education system, you have these tuitions you have to take supplementing the education. Does Vidya Kshetra also have those kind of pressure on the kids कि tuition लेना पड़ेगा after coming back from school and all that?
जैसा मैंने अभी बताया कि educational, all the requirements of the child is our responsibility. See, in the modern education system, what has happened is the onus of the student passing examinations is on the parents' head, which is an irony, you know, because why are we sending our children to a school then? The fact that we are sending our child to the school is that the teacher should take the ownership of my child understanding a subject or not. And the way we teach the subject, only some children are able to understand it, and others are not able to understand it because it's not a holistic methodology. It is whole soul, you know, cramming method. Just, you know, intellectually try to consume the subject matter, and children who are intellectually able to, they are successful, others are failures. So it's a failure of the teacher, not the failure of the student or of the parent. At Vidya Kshetra, the tables are turned. We take the ownership of making the child understand that subject matter because of we are confident of our methodology. This was the traditional methodology of Ichha, Kriya and Jnana, where all the three dimensions come together. The child is able to learn it in a very, very holistic way. So all the things or subjects related to Gyan Parampara is Vidya Kshetra's responsibility. All the subjects, the Parivar Parampara is parents' responsibility. So we request parents, you just support us. If the child is going back home, the child should complete his or her work that is pending. Our notebooks are very beautiful. The child has to complete some drawing or some painting in the notebook should be completed at home. If in older classes there is homework which children do, their punaravartan, the revision happens at home. The kalas that they are learning in school should be practiced at home. The mathematics revision, some extra questions that have to be practiced should happen at home. So we request parents to just support us with the point that the student gets some time at home and they are involved in understanding whether the child is learning all the subjects or revising all the subjects or not. So that is the support that we expect from parents. No tuition is required. In fact, we strictly say no for any tuitions outside because whatever the child needs at a conceptual level is covered at Vidya Kshetra.
So Muniji, are the parents able to help their child revise? Are they capable enough of doing it? जो आप पढ़ाते हैं घर पे?
It's a good question. See, of course, the method in which we teach is a different. It's a holistic method, and most of us have not learnt in that way. And so we don't expect parents to be very mathematically aware or, you know, scientifically aware or language-wise experts. The support that we are expecting is just make sure that the child is sitting down and is revising his or her work. For example, is the child in a week giving at least, you know, 2-3 hours for revising his or her mathematics? We are not expecting you to check whether he is revising or not. The child will bring his or her revision notebook to Vidya Kshetra, that the Acharya will make sure that the revision has it happened properly or not. But the child should get time to sit and do it. Is the child practicing Sangeeta, what the child is learning in school, at home? Is the child practicing flute, Bharatnatyam or Kalaripayattu? Is the child, you know, so the subjects that we are covering here, the child should get some time for revising them at home. That is our only expectation. Not that the parents are subject matter expert in those to you know, make any. If the parent has the ability, wonderful. You can also, you know, learn this alternate way as I learned. When I started teaching 10 years ago, 11 years ago, I had to really reinvent my way of thinking of how, you know, maths and science. I have learned that's not the way we should have learned at first place. So it's a welcome step for parents if they participate with the child to learn how algebra is covered, how geometry is covered, how, you know, physics is taught along with Hindustani Sangeet together. If you want to become a part of that learning journey, wonderful.
So Muniji, in your previous Sangam Talks video that is there on Sangam Talks, I request all our viewers to go and watch Muniji earlier talk on Sangam Talks on Vidya Kshetra. It's a very wholesome holistic talks. There are two prior talks to this. We'll also put the links in the video description in at the bottom. Muniji, आपने you have said कि the mode of instruction is Sanskrit or Kannada. So are most of the parents fluent or know Sanskrit or something, like understand what their child is doing? So how does that work?
Yeah, so this is one area where I would like to also elaborate a little bit. See, our today national education policy acknowledges that till at least grade 5 we should have mother tongue based education. This is what we have been doing from many years. So in Vidya Kshetra, the communication language is Kannada. So all the teachers and parents, they talk in Kannada language. Of course, there are some people who are from different language background, maybe from Tamil Nadu or from North India, or from Central India, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra. So we conduct Kannada learning classes for parents also, so that parents learn Kannada language, at least to the level where they're able to understand what the other person is talking about. So coming to Vidya Kshetra environment, so our communication language is Kannada. Our subjects language in the class, we teach in Kannada and in Sanskrit, at least till grade 5 equivalent. English we start teaching in grade 4 beginning, and English is covered to a very good depth. So parents don't need to be afraid that मेरा बच्चा English नहीं सीखेगा क्या. They will learn English, and in a very good depth. In few years they will be very conversant and very fluent in that language. What we have seen is, if the student learns in their mother tongue, or if in Kannada language or any Indian language, it's a very holistic learning experience for the child, because we should start thinking in our mother tongue. And the more we move to English as a main subject teaching language, as early, when the child is very young, the child starts getting conditioned to thinking in English also, which takes the child away from our culture, our families, and our overall, Bharatiya Drishti. So that is the reason why we have Sanskrit and Kannada as the mode of teaching subjects. After grade 5, which is grade 6 onwards equivalent, why I'm saying equivalent everywhere, because in Vidya Kshetra we don't have grade 1, 2, 3, 4. We have named the classes after rishis. So it's Valmiki Varga or Vasishta Varga or Kapila or Bharadwaja Varga, like that. So after the child has come into grade 6 equivalent is when our maths and science we start covering in English language. And Itihasa and Bhugol continues to happen in the Kannada language or in Sanskrit language. So this is how we do it, because in Itihasa or in history or geography subjects, these are mostly led by stories. And as long as the stories or the local, these Ramayana and the Mahabharata and the Bhagavatam, these stories and everything are happening in local language, the child would continue to think in that local language or dream in that local language. So this is how we sort of move. Then 6th grade onwards, we move into English-based maths and science and English as a language, and all other subjects are continued to we cover it in Kannada and in Sanskrit.
So what is the board that Vidya Kshetra is affiliated with, Muniji?
We have not affiliated Vidya Kshetra with any board. That is what Gurukula means. Gurukula means, like in this case, I have taken the responsibility of creating Vidya Kshetra. So it's my ownership. The responsibility stops at me. The curriculum, the pedagogy, the method in which children are learning. So it is the responsibility of the acharyas in that environment. So we have not affiliated with any board, but students, they take National Open School exam at the age of 15, when they have completed 15 by the month of May. So in that year is when the 10th equivalent starts. And then in that year they give their National Open School exam of 10th. We had already one batch which has cleared. They got very good scores. The second batch is going to appear in this year. Now they will start this 10th examination preparation year. And Similarly, 12th exam is given after 3 years. So if the student has given 10th exam at the age of 15, they would give 12th exam at the age of 18.
Right.
Yeah, that also is national open school exam.
Now, the next question that parents usually ask is that I have 3 children or 4 children. Would Vidya Kshetra take all of them if they apply? I mean, if they go through.
We are happy to take all the children because that's what we want to encourage. We want the whole family to be part of the environment. Some schools I know, because they want to also address the needs of more families, some traditional gurukulas, they actually take only one child from the family. Their deciding criteria are different, and I respect those, but our criteria is we want the whole family to be integrated with this process. So it is not right on our part to say we want the family to be integrated but then give admission only to one child. No, I think as of now what we have done is we have taken all the children. But if during the child observation step, if we see that one child is not aligned and two are, sometimes we have to take a difficult decision of not giving admission to all the three.
Right. So, Muniji, the next question which we normally get after this question that I've asked you is, after passing the NIOS and or the entire curriculum, can my child go into the mainstream professions like engineers, doctors, lawyers, studying at Vidya Kshetra?
Sure. Now, this is a very detailed answer. I will try to keep it as small as possible, though. See, it's very unfortunate what we have made the mainstream today. The way we are creating Vidya Kshetra as an answer to the current educational mess that we have created in our country and the world, the same way our socio-economic structures also need to change. Our current socio-economic structures are completely anchored on consumerism. Whereas the Bharatiya Drishti was always on serving. It was not on consuming, but on serving. So that Drishti has to change even in socio-economic. So whenever I talk about socio-economic education as three dimensions which are deeply interconnected. To be a part of the current system is not a big thing. If I ask the reverse question back, what is today's education doing to make children enabled even for today's world? It is not. And we are seeing the result of how difficult children are finding to adjust, to sustain the relationships. The divorce rates, the family structures, relationships are all breaking apart. And it's because the current education is falling short, miserably short of addressing these deeper needs of the child. Now, if I ask you, a student who has learned in such a system which is addressing their feeling realm, which is addressing their will, which is addressing their knowledge and the Viveka part, won't these children be able to adjust better in any situation than the current children? That's what I always try to tell parents, that you should feel more confident that this education will give them more strength and understanding to adjust, to accommodate, to build more deeper relationships, meaningful relationships with environment, with people around. And time only will tell, but I am very confident because this was the education method for thousands of years in our country, which was established by rishis.
Yes.
So what we are just trying to do is the links which had got broken in last 200 years, we are just trying to reconnect it back.
Yes.
I am confident in what our traditional methods were. They will always be giving good results. See, if the child has studied Ramayana or Mahabharata, or has learned classical music, or has worked in agricultural fields, have made cloth on a handloom, this child would definitely be able to understand the hardships and will be grounded.
And we'll also put the links of the videos where you've spoken about the Ichcha, Kriya and Gyan Shakti merging together, that holistic aspect, and how it affects the mind and makes a wholesome individual.
Sure.
So we'll put those links for our viewers to watch. With that, Muniji, coming to some technicalities now.
Yes.
So what does the daily timetable look at Vidya Kshetra? What from morning till the time they are there?
So as I told you that students, they come at 7:15 in the morning, the older ones, and they are there till 4:15. It's a 6-day school. It's Monday to Saturday, and only Sunday is off. Again, Traditionally, we should align our timetable with the lunar calendar. That's how it used to happen in Gurukulas, where there are days of Adhyayana and Anadhyayana. We are aware of that limitation because we are trying to make a day school model. We have made this choice that we will align it with the weekly structuring and not with the Krishna Paksha and the Shukla Paksha, the lunar calendar of our country. So Sunday is the holiday, and then students when they come in the morning, they have either Sanskrit class or they have Kalaripaitu. Kalaripaitu is the martial arts which students learn, and then we have after an hour, each class in itself is around 50 minutes to an hour duration. So it's not half an hour, 35 minutes, 40 minutes. It's a substantial amount of time. Almost an hour's time is given. Then they have their alpahara, what they bring from home. Students bring their breakfast from home. Then we have panchanga, because by this time the younger children also come. After an initial an hour and a half, by 8:45 younger children they start coming in. At around 8:45 we have the panchang, which is like an assembly, you can say, in current schools. So where that day's panchang shravanam happens. So around 5 to 10 minutes panchang shravanam happens, and then another 15 to 20 minutes our acharya teaches Bhagavad Gita new shloka to the entire school. So all the students revise with him Bhagavad Gita. 5 to 10 minutes are taken for new shloka, and then other 10 minutes are taken for punaravartan of the shlokas that were learnt in that week. So overall this morning panchanga time is around 20 to 25 minutes. Then we have an hour of agriculture for the entire school. So there are different spaces which are allocated, and then acharyas along with their classes, they do agriculture. From 10 o'clock we have something called as Shaikshanika. Shaikshanika means the subjects which are academic subjects like maths or science or history or geography or geometry. And this is an hour and a half long class. Because there are many aspects that we try to cover in this. What is covered in this 1.5 hour is, if we are doing maths, then that maths subject happens for the whole month. It doesn't, it's not like that, we have 50 minutes of maths and then 50 minutes of science and then 50 minutes of history. Aisa nahi hota hai. So it's an hour and a half of maths, and that maths subject is happening for the whole month. So we call it a block teaching method. Now for the whole month maths is covered, and then the next month when science starts, science will be covered, whether it's physics, then the whole month physics, then next month if it's geography, then whole month geography is covered. Now the advantage of this type of method is, when I go into learning maths subject, I am able to draw connections of maths with environment, maths with also science, maths with our history, maths with other aspects of learning. I will take a very small example which I have covered in my other talk of Ichha, Kriya and Gyan. So if we are teaching measurement to our students, then in measurement we first teach what the Indian traditional methods of measurement were, and then we take children to the market. And students, they will buy the garland from the flower vendor, and they will really see what we have been teaching them about, so when the person is giving one in Karnataka, in Bangalore, this is called as one mala, so which is this much measurement. So if you go and you ask for one mar of garland, the lady or the person who is selling will give an extra to you, will not give only this much measurement. So we take children to a vegetable vendor, we take children to a flower vendor and to a cloth shop. And the cloth shop, they are made to buy some clothes over there for Vidya Kshetra. We will, of course, so the whole class sees when we are buying 2-meter cloth from that shop, the person will measure 2 meter but will give a little extra. So students, they ask then, why are they giving little extra? Aren't they making loss? So we have to understand, in our Bharatiya Samskriti, the Karma Siddhanta was integrated. From me, more should go to the person, never less. And that was the spirit in which the vendor always used to give. But today, if you see, we go to a mall or to a shop, we get, 1,000 gram means it is 1,000 grams, so
Sometimes
there is
even lesser, 950
sometimes
grams.
lesser. So there is no vyavahara. That richness in vyavahara is missing, and that experience is mathematics. The measurement is that. Imagine where else can I teach this to a student? I am teaching, so they are learning measurement. They learn measurement in this manner. That, okay, how much is a dozen? So if you go and buy a dozen bananas from that lady, she will give. Seeing a child, we were shocked. She gave one banana to all the students, and she didn't charge. So students were shocked. Hasn't she made big loss? Yes, but were you happy or not? We asked the students. We were very happy that we got bananas to eat. Is it a loss? She got a lot of happiness by giving all of you that banana. Is money the only thing that she is getting? No, she is also getting happiness.
You only get to see that in India.
Absolutely.
भारत में कहीं बाहर आपको नहीं मिलेगा.
कहीं नहीं मिलेगा. तो ये जो मैथमेटिक्स है ना, ये भी बच्चों को सीखना चाहिए. कि मैथमेटिक्स is not just about cut and dry. It's not just about digital and numbers. It's also about relationship. So business maths has a lot of things to do with vyavahara, economics, about truthfulness, about artha, about anartha, about need, greed, tangible, intangible.
So Muniji, the next question I want to ask is the curriculum and methodology that Vidya Kshetra follows.
Yeah. See, I will not go into the depth of this answer because as you told in my previous videos, I have covered this topic at a good depth. And if somebody wants to really know at more depth, you are most welcome to come and attend the Parichaya event of Vidya Kshetra. But just to briefly summarize that Panchakosha is our pedagogical model, Panchakoshatmika Vikas, in which our curriculum and our pedagogy and our assessment methodologies are all aligned with the Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya and Anandamaya Kosha development of a child. The subjects which we cover are divided into 24 different subjects where we have Ichha, Kriya and Jnana, 3 parts to it, where the Kriya Shakti, we have 6 subjects where students do agriculture every day. They do weaving. We have handlooms at Vidya Kshetra. They do pottery. They stitch and knit and they do crochet, embroidery. 4th, then they have carpentry and house building. So we have house construction which happen 1 month in a year. So these are the 6 subjects that they learn which require more their hands to be involved. And through that we ensure that their hardworking nature, their will is getting developed. Similarly, we have 6 subjects of the heart, which are more feeling centered. It doesn't mean that they don't have element of head or hand in it, but they are more feeling centered. So subjects like Shastriya Sangeet, Tabla, flute, Bharatnatyam, painting and theatre, these are covered under this section. Then we have academic or intellectually intensive subjects like maths and science, in which we have made the curriculum of more than 250 experiments in physics, chemistry and biology. Students learn 3 languages, which is Sanskrit, Kannada and English, and history and geography is there. So these are the intellectual subjects. Apart from these subjects which are in these 3 categories, there are more health-centered subjects like Krida. Every day students play. There is a subject related to swimming. Swimming is there. Then there is Kalaripayattu, which is martial arts of Kerala. So these subjects also are covered as a part of there. So overall, this is the. But the purpose of all these subjects is to ensure that Vijnanamaya Kosh, Viveka, is developed in children. Because sometimes a parent can say, okay, then I can make my child learn Hindustani Sangeet, or I can make my child learn maths and science, and I can do agriculture, and then that's good. It's nice. It will help, because if you do these subjects, it will definitely help. But believe me, 80% of the work is to work with the student to bring integration between these subjects
Hmm.
and help the child develop that viveka, the Bharatiya Jivan Drishti
Under the guidance of an
of
acharya.
acharyas.
Yes, that is, I
That
think,
is the
a very
crux of
important thing.
So sometimes when parents say, if we don't get admission in Vidya Kshetra, what shall we do? So I tell them that at least you take some subjects and and start learning those subjects. Sanskrit is a good example. Sanskrit Bharati is doing great work. Connect with your local Sanskrit Bharati setups. Learn Sanskrit, at least conversational Sanskrit. Get connected to some institution where you are also learning Vyakarna or written Sanskrit in good depth. Then, Shastriya Sangeet is a great example. Get your child enrolled with Hindustani or, Carnatic Sangeet or Bharatnatyam. Do some agriculture with the student. I think it's nice to have these subjects. It will have definitely, at least, the student will get connected with the cultural aspects of our country.
The next question, that since you mentioned there are like 24 subjects, so are children able to manage so many subjects at Vidya Kshetra? How do you split it up in a day? Like, how is it done?
Actually, in historical records, it's 64 subjects were being learned by students. So I think we are doing less. That's our limitation. Students have more ability, I believe. What has happened again? See, हमारा ना paradigm we have to shift and change. We have learned maths. Imagine what sort of injustice for a student to spend almost 20 years of his or her life just learning maths, science, and English. Today's whole education, entire so much of arrangement is done to teach three subjects: maths, science, and English. Waste of time for a student, 20 years of a life of a person, at least I would say in today's context, 1/4, and foundational years. So we believed, and last 8 years we have seen it in front of us happening, and now it's our conviction is even more. Actually, you don't need more than 3 hours for academic study in a day. So that's what we do. We spend just 3 hours, but doing holistically, conceptually learning these subjects, whether it is Sanskrit or English or science or maths or geography or history. We spend just 3 hours learning these subjects. Remaining 3-4 hours students spend in doing agriculture or learning music or cleaning the campus or doing handwork, working on handloom, playing, learning martial arts. So when we have seen if a student learns like this, all other subjects they feed into each other because the student is growing holistically. They are interested in learning. They are fresh. They are enthusiastic. And that helps them to learn all the subjects well. And 3 hours of learning academics at a conceptual level, believe me, is more than enough. Today it's so unfortunate that 8 hours in school the student learns math, science, and English, and then comes back home, goes for 2 hours tuition in math, science, and English. So 10 to 12 hours in a day, student is just going through the rigor of these three subjects.
And it's like a monotony there, and a child's brain is not monotonous.
And they lose interest.
They lose interest.
No doubt. No wonder that why students today hate. Most of the students hate mathematics.
They're fed up.
They're fed up. Because it's being taught only in this forceful way. We are shoving it down their throat. ये इसी को सीखो. वही maths को imagine now. I just gave you an example. You take a student in measurement block to a market. You take them into a mall, and then they experience how measurements are done. How wonderful it will be. So when we are,
it makes you connect with the knowledge, with the practical aspects of it. I think that's wonderful. So Muniji, the next question that I wanted to ask you is that what was the performance of the children in NIOS in the last session?
Before I go to that answer, I will just add one more thing to the previous answer. See, we have to I told 3 hours of academic is enough, and other subjects, please don't again trap into this that we are doing all other subjects to make sure that these 3 hours are becoming better. That mindset is very important. Even that sports, what the student is attending, is equally or even more important than maths. That mindset is needed.
Correct.
Today's schools, you ask any parent, today's education, if exams come, The first period to be compromised is sports. Physical education is removed, is taken away for revisions, is used for practicing some mathematics concepts. What are you trying to tell child? Better than your health is maths? How wrong? On the other side, you say you should take care of the health first, because health is the most primary thing. If you are healthy, then everything else is important. You can do well. But physical education, we compromise it in our timetable and then in real reality also. So similarly, when it's a music class, the mindset that as a teacher or as parents we should have is that music class is equally important as science. So this 3 hours of academics and other subjects we are not doing to make this happen. No, each subject in itself is equally important. It's a main course for us.
It's not a side dish.
That culture has to be created in the mind of parents, in the mind of teachers, in the mind of students. Then you will get students who are grown up, who will become a musician, who will become a farmer, who will become a teacher, who will become an engineer, who will become a doctor. So yes, we desperately need good doctors. We desperately need good engineers in our society. But today, what we get is engineers who are not ready to even perform in their work. Companies have to spend years to train them, retrain them. First we spend time in their first we work with them desperately to make them compete with each other to get better marks, and then at the age of 22 when they join corporate, we spend time teamwork, work together, and money. How much of money is spent on these subjects? But what has gone in is going to come out. 20 years of fighting and envy and jealousy and competition, and then you want them to work together nicely in the team in a harmonious way. The same nature continues in corporate environment also. Only handful of people you meet in corporate environment really want to be engineers. Mostly they are there to get good money. How much time this motivation will last? Or they want to be in Bangalore or in Hyderabad or in Pune type of cities, or in Delhi, Gurgaon, or they want to leave India. That's their ticket to go to America or to Europe. These motivations are it's hurting the society. It's hurting our structuring of socio-economic model that I told. It's not the right way.
It's not going to be sustainable.
It's not sustainable. It's not right to split the families and where is the family structure? Where are the relationships?
Those are the sources of every purusharth.
Absolutely.
So you cannot have those things minus the family.
We have moved from a generation where we used to celebrate that 3 generations are living together in a family to old people left alone, fending for themselves at the age of 80. If they are not able to get up and pick a glass of water, there is nobody to help them. During COVID time in Bangalore, how many families we were interacting with where their child is in America or outside, they're not able to come back, they are alone here. We know of families where one person died also, the other person cannot do much. So we had to create an ecosystem and support. What sort of social setups have we created? And so we have to really ask ourselves these questions, and that's very important. So these 3 academic subjects, 3 hours for academic subjects is more than enough, and these are for holistic learning. All these subjects have to be seen at an equal importance.
In fact, what you just mentioned, Muniji, like all our rishis and everybody, they were all polyglots, and they were people who had interest and expertise in multiple subjects.
Yes.
So they became the wholesome individuals, and they gave so many great contributions to science and all that, which are being followed in the West now.
Yes.
And like you see, Sri Ram, he was a king, and then when he went to the Vanvas, he was able to deal with it in the one, and then he also went and fought a war. So all these things, I think, come from the ancient Gurukul.
And he was ready to receive knowledge from Vishwamitra.
Yes.
It's not a simple thing that he received.
Yes.
He learned that.
Yes.
He was an archer.
Yes.
And Lakshmana made a house during the Vanavasa. They were eating berries, so they were aware of the botany aspects of the whole thing.
Yes, yes. So a wholesome individual, and they become leaders and examples for the future generations. I think that's wonderful.
You asked a question which I skipped and came back.
Yeah, I was just asking about like what has been the performance of in NIOS.
Yeah, so these 5 students who are now the senior most students of Vidya Kshetra, they got very good scores. Like one student got 96% overall, another got 95%, one got 93, another got 87 and 86%. So all 5 of them did very well. One of them wants to go in the direction of design and textile and fabric now as a career. Another one wants to go in the direction of civilizational studies, chemistry, and community development. The third one wants to go in the direction of Bharatnatyam and painting. Fourth wants to go in the direction of product design. It's a science field where it's more of efficient, sustainable product design. And the fifth one wants to go in the direction of yoga and psychology. So like that, all the 5 have been able to easily find out what their inner propensities and proclivities are. And we have connected them to mentors in these 5 areas, and they continue to learn in these subjects with the mentors. And at Vidya Kshetra, we have created a curriculum for them where they are focusing on Sanskrit as a language, English as a language. Then we spend time on civilizational studies for all the students, where Shivakumar GVG is helping us.
The author of Arya.
Arya. So he spends 2 hours every week with the students. Raghav ji from Brihat is working with the students on design thinking and how to understand the traditional and the modern context of these subject matters. Pankaj ji is working on the history aspect and again in the civilizational studies, the temple architectures and thinking of the Purva Paksha and the Uttar Paksha of Bharatiyata. So like this, these subjects are there: the Kutumba Shiksha, the Arth Vyavastha, the economics, the social sociology or the Samaj Vyavastha. So these subjects are being covered at Vidya Kshetra with the subject matter experts. And as far as their vritti or their direction of career is concerned, we have connected them to the mentors. So they will continue to be with us till the age of 21, and parallelly, whatever is their progression, these mentors and we will together decide, and they will move forward to stand on their own feet.
So Muniji, like once they give the NIOS exams of 10th and 12th, they apply to regular colleges?
Yeah, so currently our senior most students are in 12th, you can say. So we haven't yet reached that milestone. But what we have been talking to parents and mentors is that there are many options, especially many good online options. So students will continue to learn in the Guru Shishya Parampara in this context, and they will get their degrees from these online universities and colleges. And after 21, if they really want to, go into a regular college also, they are most welcome to do so. They would have got good scores in NIOS. They would have also got an online degree, which is a recognized degree. And then based on that, they can get into any master's or any other, supporting degree course, whatever they want to after the age of 21.
Or apart from online college thing, they can also do the distance learning correspondence thing?
Distance learning, correspondence,
Online.
even regular college. If the student really wants after 12th NIOS wants to go into a regular college, most welcome to do so. We are open in all these directions, because see, the model is not to
Pull them
forcefully hold the person. Our work is to keep investing in their viveka, and then how they decide and design, that openness is there. Some rules and some boundaries we have kept so that we don't dilute the core, but there is a decent amount of flexibility around this periphery also.
So Muniji, if a child is no longer interested in a particular subject, can they drop it?
Not during the first 16 years. So there is a process to it. For example, our kalas, we have a matrix. When they are 7-year-old, we introduce vocal. When they are 9-year-old, we introduce Bharatnatyam, and we introduce tabla. When they are 10 years to 11 years, we introduce flute. So when they are 13, we reduce one kala. Now that reduction of a kala happens in a 3-dimension method. First, we ask the acharya, who are the students in your class whom you feel can drop your kala? So they will share some names. Then we talk to the parents and the child. And only after this all the 3 dimensions are meeting, the acharyas, both the acharyas, the kaksha acharya and the kala acharya, have to agree first then the parents and the child have to agree. After this whole process is when one kala is dropped for the student. Then next year one more kala is dropped using the same method. Next year one more kala is dropped. So like that, when they are 15-year-old, they only are involved with 1 or 2 kalas. As far as agriculture is concerned, it is through and through always there. Handloom, only some students are involved in handloom. As far as handwork is concerned, stitching, knitting, everybody is involved in that. So like that, for some years, some kalas are mandatory. Students cannot drop it. But as a part of the whole design, we start doing these kalas and activities, and then we start dropping one by one through that process.
So Muniji, the last question that I'll ask on the parents' behalf, prospective parents, that if the child attends some online classes like Python programming or Sangeet, can he continue it together with Vidya Kshetra?
Okay. See, as far as computers is concerned, we believe that that today again, it's a very shallow and a modern materialistic approach which is driving the learning of computers as a subject. I see that there are some institutions which are introducing programming in grade 6 or even earlier. That's very unfortunate for the children. Because these are highly intellectual subjects. Again, not every child is there to receive it. Even the students who are dealing with the world in an intellectual dimension easily, we will actually take a lot of things away from them, what they should have got in that age. So just to give you a background, when we are born with some sort of karma, our chart. Now that's how integrated Bharatiya Drishti into the whole system is. Now based on that, our way of dealing with the world is defined. For example, some children deal with the world through their intellect more, some with their feeling and some with their hands. Today's education fails the students who are dealing with the world in their feeling and with their hand, and only address partially the needs of the children who are intellectually dealing with the world. When we bring subjects like this, computing and programming, and they are almost like forced onto all this set of children, imagine the plight the students who are dealing with the world more feeling centered and more hand centered would have. And only again it is catering to the need of some children who are intellectually dealing with the world. And even these children, their intellectual abilities are not still developed to a large extent. Any education, what the education should do is, the student who is dealing with the world in the feeling should try to bring a balance also for that student in the intellectual and in the hand. For the student who is dealing with the world with the hand, the education should try to bring some balance on the intellectual thinking and also on the feeling thinking. And for the student who is dealing with the world with the intellect, a balance should be brought with the hand and of the feeling. That education is a holistic education. You are getting my point. But what we are doing is, if the student is intellectually dealing, we are feeding only that and cutting all other things away. So that is the reason why children are finding it so difficult to deal with today's world and the needs and the difficulties of relationships. Relationships is a matter of feeling. You can have meaningful and deeper relationships only if your feeling realm is developed. And it is cut off completely. So what we do in Vidya Kshetra is, we work on all the 3-dimensional development, which is Ichha, Kriya and Gyan. The second part is, for all the students, we should have them thinking logically. Logical ability, quantitative ability, synthesis, analytical abilities are the abilities which are behind any sort of computing or programming or algorithm or data structure approach. That's how I learned. I have done my engineering from Delhi Technical University. I have worked for many years in IT industry. I have programmed in Linux. I have even gone into the codes in assembly language. And I find value in that type of an approach. It's like a test match cricket. and a T20 cricket.
Yeah.
And even worse, a gambling based approach of. So when you are, our responsibility as educators, as parents, should be that our child develops analytical ability, our child develops quantitative ability, logical ability, synthesis ability. That once it is developed, the student will be able to learn data structures, algorithms, and programming languages like this. And that is how we should approach this learning. So till the age of 16, we invest a lot through maths, through science, through Sanskrit, Vyakarana, through many aspects which we bring in our education method to develop these abilities in children, which are more holistic and addresses the needs of all the children. And then at the age of 16, if the student has the engineering bent or aptitude, or has the technical bent or aptitude, we encourage them to move in these understanding of programming languages, algorithms, data structures, and these subjects.
So thank you so much, Muniji. Or I hope our viewers will find this helpful, and how to approach a Gurukul or Vidya Kshetra, whom you would like to, admit your child into. And as Muniji mentioned, that Vidya Kshetra is focused on making a wholesome individual who will be competent enough to live in this ever challenging world with a vision that is Bharatiya. And once you put your child in Vidya Kshetra, you know that it is in safe hands. So, Muniji, I hope you grow and Vidya Kshetra institution grows and we see it all over, so that we have a good, healthy model that you have so wonderfully developed all over Bharat, and we can have more wholesome individuals and reclaim the glory of our civilization. Thank you so much, Muniji.
Thank you very much, Tanya ji. Just one thing I would like to request, which I do at end of all my talks, is that our country badly needs a lot of acharyas, and the faster we are able to get acharyas and committed people who are ready to spend their life with this most beautiful purpose of preparing the next generation, of bringing back our Bharatiya education model in our country. So my request is an invitation to people that please join this movement. Send a message to me, drop a message to me. We have an Acharya Nirman program already going on. Today there are more than 60 people who are part of it. I request you to become part of this Acharya Nirman program, Yojana, which we have. It will take few years, for us to really have this paradigm shift of seeing things from the current disintegrated, disconnected view to a Bharatiya Jivan Drishti view. And that is actually this whole journey of becoming an Acharya. So the more we get Acharyas from different part of our country, the faster we will be able to start such initiatives in our country. And the faster we will be able to address the need of our next generation.
Muniji, what is the eligibility to apply even for this Acharya Nirman?
At least I would say, see, one is that you need to be around 18-20 years, because then you have an idea of what you want, and you are able to sustain through this whole program. Other eligibility, nothing. You just should be very inspired to lead your life as per this Bharatiya Jivan Drishti.
They need to know Sanskrit?
No, Sanskrit is not a prerequisite. As a part of this whole program, you can of course learn Sanskrit as you are going. The idea of this Acharya Nirman Yojana is to really understand the constructs of Bharatiya education, Bharatiya Shiksha. So we have Punarutthan Vidyapeeth, who is our mentor, and Indu Tai, who is our mentor in this whole journey. And she has written these 5 books, which is Bharatiya Shiksha Granthamala, which was written and released to the world in 2018. Since then, we have started this Acharya Adhyan Yojana, where many people are joining every year, and we go systematically in understanding this subject matter. So first step is to understand what are the components of Bharatiya Shiksha. Then so the first step is to become a good Aditi, do a good Aditi. Second is Bodh. Bodh is the step where what you have read, what you have, then you try to, you meditate on what you have read, you try to apply it in your life, you try to apply it in your work context, and then you start churning it inside you. Now that's what is bodh, abhyas and prayog. These are the three steps which are happening together. The better the churning, the better the realizations you will start getting from that knowledge. It's like the when a cow is eating grass, that grass gets converted to milk. That process is called as bodh, abhyas and prayog. So that these three steps are happening together, and you become better and better in your understanding and application. And then you reach a stage where what you have read, these things start getting connected. And these connections, the moment it happens, then automatically prasar means sharing it with the outside world. So these 5 stages of aditi, bodh, abhyas, prayog and prasar is the part of this adhyayana, acharya adhyayana process. So once you join it, at least you should understand that 5 years is needed for this process to happen. And there are 2 teams which are interacting with us in different parts of the country now. They are part of this. They are about to begin this, their gurukulas. Maybe in a year or 2, these will start. So it doesn't need whole 5 years for us to wait for you to start, but at least 3 years is needed. So if you start today in this Acharya Adhyayana Yojana, you need another 3 years for you to get some grounding in this understanding, and then you can begin, the Gurukula in your place. So we have Vidya Kshetra as a model where you can come, you can train, you can spend time in Vidya Kshetra, see the classes for days, weeks, months also. So we are lucky today that we have the Jnanatmak part in this Adhyayana Yojana and the Kriyatmak, the practical application in Vidya Kshetra. Combined together, we have a very good method of becoming an acharya.
Right. So we put these details also in the YouTube.
Yes.
Or male, females both can apply.
Yes, of course. We always had male and female acharyas.
Right.
It is impossible to have a society without both the acharyas.